You know, the House looks like it's going to pass an assisted suicide bill. Who knows what happens in the Senate? What's your perspective on this very touchy, difficult issue?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to go to who knows what happens in the Senate. So I think if the bill does get to my desk, it's going to have very significant changes on it. It's really it's a very personal issue. At that, it doesn't have a political divide on it. It's not a Republican, Democrat type thing. We'll see if it gets here. I'm a little hesitant to say that it will, but if it does, it's going to have a lot of changes on it. But that's one way you really want to reach out to the public. You know, normally I don't like to do the, gee, what does the public think? We'll just go with. But that's one that's so personal, folks. I'd probably spend the time to reach out to see where people are.
So you're at least open to the idea?
Yeah, I think so. I'd wait to see what the final bill says. I don't want to say it's absolutely dead on arrival. No.
Okay. The state primary date.
Excuse the pun.
You know what? Yeah, all right. The state primary date, potentially moving to early June.
Yeah.
Is that something you'd be on board with?
Yes. I wasn't originally, you know, but in the past few years, when you see that races get challenged, our general election is so tight, legally we may not be able to meet certain stipulations in our. So it's not just well, I think this would be a better idea. We could have real problems meeting the calendar and the timeline if we keep it where it is in September. So I don't like a summer election because we're on vacation, we're dealing with tourism, it's hard to get the message out. So the idea of putting it, the next closest date would probably be June, and I'm open to that.
Secretary Scanlon has expressed some trepidation, saying this really does put a little kink into the idea of the two-year terms. You know, that like a governor has 6 months and then suddenly they're announcing their re-election campaign. Any concerns there?
No, because look, one thing I take pride in, I can't speak for other governors, is like I didn't raise any money really until, you know, a few months, you know, before we filed for election. So the key to New Hampshire, even though we have these two-year terms as governor, is actually not campaigning, right? You get way more stuff done there. I think we've been a record of success there in doing that. And then you run hard and campaign on those successes, and you can raise money and do all that. So I don't think it'll be a problem. I mean, Dave Scanlon is an incredible Secretary of State. He knows a lot more about this than I do. But I am concerned that by keeping that narrow window on the general election, and we just can't if you back it up anymore, you hit summer. So you got to go to kind of the latest possible date before you hit those summer months and people go away.
So a safe bet, June 2026, we'll be having a state primary.
If it gets to my desk, I think I'd probably sign it, unless there's other stipulations in there. But generally, yeah, I'd be okay with it.
Let's move to cannabis legalization. You said last year you were open to discussing the idea of a franchisee kind of model. You also had some other stipulations that came in November saying if there were franchisees, you didn't want them to be able to lobby the legislature, the governor. You didn't want them to be able to make political contributions. That one kind of took some people aback. Yeah. Explain why you want that in there.
Well, the reason for that stipulation is it would really be under the Liquor Commission. And right now, the Liquor Commission can't lobby for itself. It really runs its own business with all our 75 to 80 stores that we have around the state. But they can't lobby their own interests to the government, right? So it's just under that. They'll be under the Liquor Commission or at least connected to it. And so we're just trying to keep some symmetry there as best we can. Now, our franchisee model is a little different, so I'm willing to take a look at some things. But yeah, this could be a very powerful lobby. You don't necessarily want that to dictate where this goes. I don't love the idea of legalizing cannabis here. I really don't. But knowing that it's probably inevitable, there's a responsibility to getting the system right. Other states around us have got their systems very wrong. And I think we have an opportunity to really set a model here that works. Limited stores, away from kids in schools, controlling the marketing aspects, not letting this free-for-all happen that you see in other states that have just made a mess, both of the states and the towns on this issue. So if they kind of stay in the guidelines and they do this, while I don't love it, boy, we could set ourselves up for a good long-term sustainable system with minimal impacts to kids, and that's really what I'm looking for.
If the franchisee is a private entity, though, how can you restrict its free speech?
Yeah, so that's because we're controlling the entire business, right? We're controlling the product, we're controlling the messaging, we're controlling the marketing. So I do understand there's free speech issues there, and that's why I'm happy to take a look at it. We're looking at the legality of that. So maybe there's some flexibility there, but ultimately I just want folks to know that we're going to maintain this so there's not some big lobbying power, you know, redirecting the entire course of a system that I think, if not controlled, could have some real negative impacts to our kids and communities.
Can you really get to yes on this? There are a lot of lawmakers who are feeling a little bit like Charlie Brown, and you're Lucy. You know, the football's there. They're ready to kick it through the uprights. They think you're just going to go take it
Look,
away.
the one thing I've been super clear on what I want to see. So if they put that in the bill, then I'll sign it. Like that's it. And you know, I'm pretty good about sticking to my word. So. Yeah.
Another very touchy issue, here's one that's being debated in the legislature. In New Hampshire high school sports, athletes who were born biologically male, who grew up with the benefit of having testosterone in their body, making them bigger and stronger. if they end up identifying as transgender, should they be allowed to compete against girls?
Yeah, so that bill has a bunch of other stuff tied to it. I'll be interested to see. I think the Senate's going to take that up in a couple months. It got through the House, I believe. I think the Senate's going to take it up. There's a bunch of other things tied to it. So I want to be careful of the bill itself because there's a bunch of other pieces in there. Look, I fundamentally don't believe that biological boys should be competing in girls' sports. I think it's dangerous, and that's been proven, over and over again. When you talk to the parents about it, they completely understand that. But I'll wait to see what the bill has in it. So I don't want to get too over my skis, so to say, on the bill itself, because if it comes with too many other stipulations and too many restrictions that go far afield of what we're talking about here, we could have an issue.
There are several different bills. I think Senator Lang has one that essentially doesn't mention gender at all, but says there is an option, I guess, for trans kids to have their own league. Is that fair?
Yeah, so now, or practical, right? So do we have enough people? Is that really a practical solution? So my hope is that they take a lot of those bills, they put them together. I think there'll be a lot of changes in there before it gets to my desk, but we'll take a look.
Issues going on right now with Anthem and state retirees being able to get their prescriptions filled in a timely fashion. It's odd because this isn't just some rinky-dink operation that tried to bite off more than it could chew. This is a major player in healthcare in America. What the heck is going on with Anthem right now being unable to fulfill the contract that you guys signed?
Great question, Anthem. So look, a few years ago, Anthem changed their model a little bit, and they kind of nationalized a lot of their customer service, some of their management decisions. It really got nationalized. So I think we have good people here in the state, but in that process, you lost a lot of customer service. They implemented new systems. It isn't really working for folks. My phone's been blowing up. I know the phones of a lot of legislators and counselors and have been blowing up. Folks getting improperly billed, which is really, really disconcerting. Constantly working with them. My guess is we're going to have fees and not fees, but fines and penalties to them. I think Anthem knows that. We get a lot of reassurance from them that they're constantly challenging themselves to get better results and work on the problem. But we're not just taking that out of hand. Our folks at the Department of Administrative Services are right on top of it, and we're just not letting up. That's all I can. That's my big promise to the people of the state. We're not letting up. We're going to make sure that this system works specifically for these retirees that should be getting prescriptions and things fulfilled literally within 24 hours, and sometimes it takes weeks, or they get inappropriately billed. Not just one, folks, but dozens and even hundreds in some cases. So we're going to stay right on it and just try to get a better result. But believe me, Anthem knows the world of hurt that they're in right now. And again, we'll just kind of see long term where we have to go with that contract.
This started when they took over on January 1. It seemed like the old system was working. Why did you want to make the change in the first place?
On January 1?
No, why did you switch to a different contractor, essentially? It seemed like the prior system was working okay?
The prior system, I think the prior system was working okay. I mean, again, when you're bringing in Anthem and some of their subcontractors that manage this end of it, to the point you brought up, this is Anthem, right? There's not that we didn't think that nothing could go wrong, but this is a major player. They do things like this all across the country. For whatever reason, I don't know the technical reasons, so to say, or the customer service reasons, it just hasn't been working. So we've been right on top of it, and it was even, I mean, we had issues of this going back last fall as well. So again, we're going to keep working with them, stay on top of it, and not kind of take our boot off their throat until they get it right.
Before we wrap up here, there have been some high-profile incidents at Hampstead Hospital involving security, big fights and stuff like that, state employees getting injured. We know there's a new facility coming online there eventually, and that might help with some of these issues. But in the short term, what's the solution to ensure that this facility is safe? Yeah,
so look, the facility is safe. I don't want anyone to think that the facility is not safe. When you're talking about New Hampshire Hospital, our mental health hospital, our Hampstead, corrections, there's a lot of areas here where you have individuals that can become violent for a variety of reasons. I think our staff are terrific. I think by and large, they handle those situations very, very well. It's unfortunately, there are rare circumstances, not just recently, but for 50 years where a nurse will get hurt or something will get out of hand. By and large, I think they handle those things very well. The facility is safe. That was an isolated incident in this past weekend. Doesn't mean it can't happen again. But to your point, constantly looking. We just bought this hospital, constantly looking for both physical safety improvements. We have a new CEO that's over there, which is great. We just brought him in. He's doing a fantastic job already. And they don't let anything just sit. They get right on it. They're super transparent about it, working with the community and those families and those individuals to make sure that we're minimizing those impacts.
Real quick before we wrap up, one question. You're a military dad now.
Yeah.
Does this change your outlook at all on U.S. foreign policy?
No, it doesn't. And so my son became a Marine just about a month ago, which is great. I wouldn't say it changes my outlook on foreign policy because my outlook is a strong America, right? Our allies need to know that we're strong. Our enemies need to know that we're resolved. So no, I think I've always had the right. I am where I am on foreign policy and our mindset. When we need to support Israel, we need to absolutely support Ukraine. You need to defeat the Russians. And if you don't do that, you put American service members at risk, both with NATO issues that could arise, with Taiwan and empowering China to go after Taiwan. Now you're really putting folks at risk. But I believe that you garner more towards world peace with America's strength in the military.